Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us today on this Saturday morning with a little rain. I'm Libby Dowsett. We'll get to your headlines in just a minute, but first, let's check in with Corey to find out what comes next. Corey.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of rain in the forecast, as you mentioned. Libby, good morning to you and everyone watching. This is our Rose City camera. You can see the cloud cover overhead, lots of it, a few sun breaks, and we also have some sprinkles in some spots. Not right now around Portland, as you can see from our active radar, but in Southwest Washington and near the coast and a little bit inland, we do have some off and on sprinkles that are happening. This is our Providence Park camera as well. Lots of cloud cover overhead and sitting in the low 50s. And then taking a look at Futurecast, which you can expect to see the rest of the day. We are seeing off and on showers now with some cloud cover. Fast forward through the rest of the morning, the early afternoon. It does stick around and even become a little bit more widespread down the I-5 corridor, but closer to dinner time and around parade time for those of you headed out to the Rose Festival parade. It is going to clear up around 7, which will be good to see. So we'll have a nice evening on tap, but it'll definitely be jacket worthy because we're only going to make it into the low 60s as our highs. And looking over in the Dalles, also seeing some cloud cover, but we are dry there. A look at your day planner as far as temperatures are concerned. By noon, hitting 58 degrees. Then we reach our high of 62 by 3 in the afternoon, and that carries us the rest of the evening. We'll break down more of your temperatures throughout the weekend and early next week coming up.
Thank you, Corey. This morning, the community of Sandy remains in mourning after 3 people, a mother, grandmother, and a teenage neighbor, were shot and killed. Last night, people gathered together to honor 16-year-old Coben McClure. Catherine Cook takes us there.
Hundreds filled the Sandy High Stadium Friday night to remember 16-year-old Coben McClure.
He was the kind of person who can make people laugh without even trying.
Coben, one of 3 people shot and killed in Sandy last weekend.
He was someone who generally cared about the people around him.
Many wore camouflage because that's what Coben loved to wear. They brought balloons, drove motorcycles. Some came as families, others by themselves. A cross-section that Gunnar Carson says is just like Sandy, united in their differences and resilient.
That we can rebuild really fast. We can get together and all of that. We don't really try and separate.
Gunnar made this cross for Coben as the whole community grieves. On Sunday, police say 38-year-old Brian Moore shot and killed his wife, Jenna Overson, her mother, Beth, and Coben, their neighbor. Moore is also accused of shooting Sandy Police Sergeant Garrett Thornton, who survived. Off camera, Coben's mother told us her son stood up for others, especially if they were being bullied. Many here shared stories about the teen, someone they loved, someone they miss.
What I want people to know about Coben is that he was so much more than the struggles he faced. He was caring, he was funny, he was goofy, and he was stubborn.
Loved ones set up a GoFundMe for Coben's mom to help with funeral expenses. Also, detectives in this case are asking the public for any video from the day of the shooting. In Sandy, Catherine Cook, KGW News.
A Southeast Portland standoff that began with a hostage situation early Friday morning ended peacefully with some 12 hours later with the suspect in custody. This all started around 5:30 in the morning near Northeast 122nd and Halsey. Police responded to a domestic disturbance at an apartment. Authorities say the hostage got away safely, but the suspect remained inside. Neighbors sheltered in place while others were forced to evacuate with nearby roads closed most of the day. Police eventually used flashbangs, tear gas, and pepper spray, which eventually drove that man out of the apartment, but not through the front door.
He was running around on the roof to try to get away from us, but eventually jumped onto the tree and kind of swung down. He's lucky. I mean, if he had fallen straight down from there, he really could have been seriously injured.
And after he climbed down that tree, more police were waiting to arrest him. Police say the man was armed with a handgun, but no shots were fired and no one was hurt. In Clark County, one person is in custody after a deadly stabbing in Battleground. The sheriff's office says 2 people were stabbed around 1:30 Friday afternoon west of State Route 503. It was near Northeast 117th Avenue and 244th Street, which appears to be a somewhat rural residential area. A man died at the scene, and a woman was taken to the hospital. New video from Washington's Department of Ecology from the site of that chemical tank failure at a Longview paper mill. It shows part of the break room that was demolished in the blast that killed 11 workers. As state and federal investigations get underway, experts say the way they describe what's happened could make a big difference in what comes next. Kyle Laboshi explains.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
In their initial calls for help, workers at Nippon Dynawave Packaging in Longview reported a tank imploded.
We're reporting a tank imploded. It looks like there's 3 people with chemical burns and 1 subject is missing.
In the days after the disaster, emergency officials and the media continued to describe it as an implosion, along with various other terms.
This was a blast. We've used the word explosion, we've used the word implosion, I've also used the word failure. Indeed, there was a rupture, a failure, a blast. All of those to us mean the same. It's not why it happened, it's the damage that we observed.
In a statement to investors, Nippon Paper described the event as a tank collapse. But the distinction, implosion, blast, or collapse, isn't just semantics. An industrial safety consultant says words matter.
It's important to get the terminology right because it starts you down a path.
Mike Schmidt of Bluefield Process Safety warns implosion could point investigators toward problems with pressure or venting. A collapse could raise questions about corrosion or aging equipment. Different failures require different solutions.
If they've been told it was an implosion, they'll start thinking, what do we need to do to our other tanks to prevent them from imploding? And they might spend a lot of energy and effort protecting other tanks from implosions when implosions aren't really the problem that they need to be dealing with.
State and federal investigators are already trying to determine what happened. And when they're done, we'll know how best to describe this tragedy and what can be done to prevent it. Kyle Laboshi, KGW News.
Later today, most of the bodies of the workers killed will be transported back to Cowlitz County from the Seattle area. If you'd like to pay your respects, you can view the procession from I-5 overpasses, likely starting around 5 p.m. between exits 42 and 57. Multnomah County commissioners have finalized a $4 billion budget, one that includes major cuts to homeless services. Nearly 700 shelter beds will be phased out this summer, leaving the county with about 1,700 remaining. When it comes to public safety, the budget maintains capacity at the 2 county jails and restores 4 prosecutors in the district attorney's office. It also adds more than $800,000 to the DA's digital evidence unit. Now, while that may sound good, DA Nathan Vasquez says his department took a major hit.
No matter what fuzzy math the county commissioners may tell you, we lost $3.5 million. We saw people like Commissioner Singleton flat out ignore their community. She repeatedly voted against public safety, particularly any amendments that had to do with the district attorney's office.
In a statement, Commissioner Shannon Singleton, who the DA mentioned right there, and who is also running for county chair, says she's proud of the investments the county was able to make in housing, sustainability, and support for immigrants. Police are searching for a suspect they say vandalized the Albina Head Start building. The video is from last Sunday morning along northeast Alberta. You can hear the suspect muttering something to himself as he walks up to the big glass window and begins throwing those rocks. The suspect ran off, and police say they have not made any arrests.